Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here. Once again, it is time for another episode of Dadbod to Daddy training. And today was shoulder day, so I started the day off with an overhead press. I decided to do seated instead of standing. I tried standing last week. I just feel the seated's a little better given where my range of motion is on my shoulders. I decided to do a really heavy set first. I went with 155, I only got 3, so I dropped it back down to 135, then got 5 and 6. So again, I'm going to have to build the overhead press back up. I haven't done it in a very, very, very long time, probably a couple years really. And again, at least I'm able to do overhead pressing. There was a point with my shoulder mobility and the inflammation after that impingement and everything, the overuse impingement, that I couldn't even really lift my arms over my head. So I'm happy to even be able to do this. I am fully aware that I don't lock it out, but you guys have kind of seen what's going on with my range of motion. And that's okay because I'm mainly doing this as a front delt and upper chest exercise to help improve my incline, improve my shoulder aesthetics, and it's the smallest part of my shoulder training. Side and posterior delts are getting a lot more, but because I'm working the incline hard, because I need the extra upper chest, and the incline will help improve my benching in general to help my chest, because I feel like a good carryover. So again, this will also help bring up my incline bench. So again, I think that's a great combination for people who are really trying to just develop their upper chest and a lot of power out of the bottom of a bench, is to do flat bench, incline, and overhead press. Great combination. So I did upright rows afterwards. I'm going relatively heavy on these now, even though I'm keeping it very strict. I managed to get 8s on these today. So I think the last time I was around 6, maybe 7 reps. So we managed to get 8 rep sets on this today. So yes, I do these fairly close. I'm fully aware that you probably get a little more side delt if you go wider, but the close grip is very comfortable for me. And of course I do lateral raises immediately afterwards, and then I hammer posterior delts afterwards. And so the posterior delt work all carries over to the side delts. So really, when you look at this, I'm not even that worried so much about some of these big movements, which heads they're hitting, because after this, I end up doing 3 isolation movements for the side and the rear delts, which kind of gives me everything else that I need to fill that in, because I do want to bring those areas up. Again, trying to work the show muscles a little bit more. I really want that upper chest to come up. I want arms, and I want more delt. Particularly that. I think my rear delt really needs the most development. That was an assessment from a friend of mine who I've done consultations for him for strength training, but he competes in bodybuilding. He kind of mentioned that to me. He's like, yeah, if you're going to do more bodybuilding, I would definitely work that rear head more, and I tend to agree with him. Something I am prioritizing a little bit on these days. So I'm making sure I'm doing 2 movements for the posterior head, because for me, rowing hasn't done it. I've got big lats. I tend to be strong at lat work in general, and it hasn't fully developed that rear head. So afterwards, I end up doing 3 sets of laterals to failure. I end up getting, I think I got 10. I think I got 11 on one of the sets, but they were all at least 10 reps. Which, again, kind of where I want to be with these. I don't mind the lower reps on the other stuff. I want people to keep in mind I'm doing more or less power building. I like to start every workout with something really heavy and basic, and it tends to be the squat, bench, or deadlift. But then on my shoulder day, I'm like, I might as well do it on an overhead press, right? Of course, we start with weighted shins on the back and bicep day, which will be tomorrow. So yeah, that really does kind of give me 5 big exercises that I do heavy throughout the week on my 5 days on my split. So it really is kind of power building. So I'm taking the reps down as low as triples and stuff. I've been doing some singles on the squats, but I think I'm going to take those to all triples also. So we are doing that, and then everything else is all just hypertrophy. But keep in mind, we're doing a lot of these bodybuilder styles, so my benching is done flat back, really wide grip, to build the chest. So yeah, it really is like a 5-day bodybuilding split, but it is power building, because we do start with a really heavy movement for low reps, and then we go on to all this pump work, and a lot of this pump work is up in that 10 to 20 rep range, right? Very little's hitting 20, but some stuff is, like my sissy squats and things. So after that, I did rear delt raises. And with these, I always do these bent over, because these are so easy to cheat on. And even then, these are not even the strictest now. But I feel the posterior delts on them a lot, even with this technique. But again, doing them seated definitely reduces the cheating instead of bending over. It helps a little bit, helps isolate it a little more, because again, it's an exercise it's super easy to cheat on in general. And so for those who are wondering why there's no real trap work, I don't feel that I need it because I do all the rowing and deadlifting, and I don't feel that I want disproportionate traps. I feel like I need wider shoulders before my traps start coming up much more. Of course, my lower and middle traps are massive. My upper traps are not as massive, but that kind of goes with the fact that my shoulders could stand to be a little bigger, a little wider as I continue to cut down. So yes, it is still, fat loss is the primary goal right now, but we are trying to recomposition and bring up weak links as I go. All right, so I'm not doing just like a pure cutting. It's a nice slow cut. And again, it's coming along. I've been losing fat. And now granted that the scale went back up when I started eating primarily carbs again after a little bit of lower carbs, doing all healthy fats. But again, it's not going to be fat gain. I feel like if anything, fat loss will be faster, even if I'm a little fuller doing this. But yeah, I do look leaner. I've noticed when I drop the carbs down because of the water drop. All right, I do look a little bit leaner. But I'm really concerned with losing actual fat, not really dropping water at this point. So I also did one set of the hanging leg raises before I went over to the other delt exercise, because those were about 30-second breaks on those. So I wanted my rear delts to have just a short break. It's a good time to work in my ab work. I do anywhere between 1 to 3 sets of this every workout. I did 3 yesterday. I'll just do 1 today. I usually end up doing only 1 to 2 sets on any sort of upper body day. Because my arms get really fatigued. But you guys already know why we do the hanging leg raises every day. Don't need to go into the details. I think every vlog gets discussed in every vlog. And then I finished up with band pull-aparts just to finish off those rear delts and help with my overall shoulder health. They're a great exercise for that. Ended up doing 3 sets, pretty much to failure. Basically took it till it really burned, and then I did 1 hard squeeze. So something around 12 reps. I get to a point where I don't really count reps on these. Maybe I should go a little heavier. Maybe I should take the reps up higher, see if I can do more. And I might do that. But I feel like this is a good finisher. It gets the job done. Yes, it's a shortened position movement, whereas in the others a little more lengthened position, and that's okay because not really many exercises are gonna lengthen and stretch the rear delts. There just aren't many. Maybe my rows, and that hasn't built the best rear delts for me. It's built massive lats. So my rows and pull-ups and things. So maybe that shortened position is what they need, and that's kind of the exercises I have. So that's what I'm hammering. But again, the thing to keep in mind, these are great for your overall shoulder health. It can help stabilize your bench also. So again, knocked it out to finish 3 sets of these. So it gave me 3 sets for front, 6 sets for side, 6 sets for rear, not counting the overlap of these exercises because they all do overlap. All right, guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I'll talk to you guys and gals next time.